Welcome back to my hardcore world on day 4356. I'm in the middle of collecting materials to finish our first major build project, a large Asian city at my world's spawn that I need to complete by day 5000. See, I release world download updates every 1000 days and a 5000 day update's a major milestone. I need this entire project done so the next update is for my entire completed city. We've spent a lot of time recently building this project. I finished all of the main builds within the city, then did some custom trees and decor last time. And today is the first of a 3-part finale to the city, and it's all about the details. I want to build the parks, flower gardens, street lighting, unfinished city streets, and introduce some memorial sites and graves before we completely transform the riverbed. But as usual, we'll start in storage and get our main materials. The one item that I hate crafting, probably more than anything in Minecraft, is cake. It's too many different ingredients, different stack sizes, and I just hate making it, so I rarely use it. One of the new shops I'm building today is a small cake shop for a friend, so I want an easy way to get them. And after someone pointed out that you can buy cakes, I knew that was my solution forever. I'm never crafting another cake in this world. And if you're a regular enjoyer of the series, I do realize I have a leaf farm. And you realize it's 15,000 blocks from home, so when I need just a stack of jungle leaves but I'm out, this local forest is going to get some. Now that we have all the materials, let me show you the plan. My city still has a ton of empty grassy areas like this one. If I show you the state of the city at the moment, you can see a lot of issues. Some of the buildings are floating, the road is incomplete, and there's more empty blank space back here. There's even more empty space over this way, and I want to connect this area to the Buddha Island with a heavy bridge. And from all the way back here, you can see several grassy hills and empty forest areas that need to be filled in. And while the city's looking pretty good, it's like 90% complete. Few of you would remember this now, but in my last hardcore world, I built about 8 builds before I stopped playing it. It was, at the time, the most I'd ever built. Now I have all of this. The residential area of my city is mostly done, but we also need to spend a bit of time finishing some details here. I'm going to put a bridge over to the Yabusami Arena, as well as a small graveyard, water well, and a few new trees. While there are always a lot of competing goals with a big project like this, one of my most important goals is to make the city feel lived in and somewhat plausible. I mean, small details like this well that I'm digging out now matter. I like to think about a day in the life of a villager who lives here. But when the city is done, my plan is to use the breeder villagers in the trading hall to repopulate the city a bit. So I think about what they need: clean water, food, jobs, a place to sleep, and that really helps me figure out what's next for the city. And with this bucket of water, the well near the city center is now complete. It's only about 50 blocks or so to build, but with everything we're doing today, it's one of those little details that we'll notice later. I then built a second well behind the barracks and toward the empty space in the corner of the city, and then a third over here in the residential district. This one I made just a bit rougher, making sure there was more mud and dirt, less clean stone brick, and the obvious decay that comes from the lower standards here. And there we go, that one is now also done. One of my good Minecraft friends, at least until this video comes out, died to a cake on a hardcore server we're both on.
But listen. What? What?
This shop is both to traumatize him, because that's what friends do, and commemorate his cakely death, because that's also what friends do. Eventually I'll name a villager back here after him to man the shop. The second shop is more of a general chemist or potion shop. I know we have shops on the harbor, but I thought a few more closer to the city center also made sense. I've been playing Minecraft for about 5 years now, and one thing I've noticed is that I never feel like a project is actually finished. In all of my time playing, I think I've only considered one project as finished as it was ever going to be, and that was the abandoned city Livia and I did on Season 7 of the One Shot SMP, which I'll link in the description, and you can check that out after this one. With that build, I had a friend building with me. It was easy for us to keep thinking of things to do and finishing our area, but with the limited time to finish, we pushed to complete it. And the more I get into the fine details of this city, the more the build is starting to feel the same. I wanted to change how I'm building and how these videos are structured for a long time, but I felt like I should keep things the same until the city was done. I don't want part 1 of the city to be a clean, classic Minecraft build style, and the other to look like B-dubs jumped in and started texturing it for me. I'm ready to break out of this style though. While I build, I feel like it's time to give some updates on the channel. If you didn't see it, I recently put out a community post explaining that my full-time YouTube journey is going to come to at least a temporary end very soon. It doesn't mean the series is over. I plan to keep going with the world in other videos, but with less pressure that it has to make a certain amount of money to pay my bills. It also gives me more freedom to make new videos that I'd love to try out, like extreme challenges, new mini-series, and maybe some essays, so I hope you'll stick around for what's still to come. Before the slowdown of videos, however, as I mentioned earlier, this is the first of a 3-part city building finale. Well, for part 2, I know I've said that all of the main builds in the city are completed now, and that's not quite true. The city still has one very empty, very large quarter. In it, I hope to place a large white castle with many rooms, multiple levels, and a huge staircase leading directly up to it. This is what I think of as my final project for the area. It's going to sit in that empty quarter and be built on top of fully custom landscaping. And finally, in episode 41, we will complete this city. I'm going to spend the remaining days leading up to day 5000 doing only one thing: improve the city in any way possible. I plan to spend between 70 and 100 hours in that finale to ensure everything is done that I can possibly do. That includes finishing the landscaping, the street lamps, leveling out high and low spots, transitions, adding texture to the roads, repopulating, adding plants, and a bunch of tiny other ideas that will make it my most finished single-player project ever. And I know for most of my audience, you prefer when I spend episodes building heavily technical projects like my tree farms, the gunpowder farm, or more recently the huge furnace array. It makes sense for me to lean into the technical side of Minecraft, but that's never been my only plan. I've always said I want to be a better builder than most tech players, and a better tech player than most builders. That's still true. When I went on my speedrunning arc a few years ago, I said I wanted to be a better speedrunner than most survival players, and a better hardcore player than most speedrunners. That's still true. Technical Minecraft is one of the most fun parts of the game for me, but it isn't something most people can do for a very long time. There's only around 200 total farms you can build in the game, and I've made 150 already. Yes, I'm going to go back and improve some of the weakest farms, but if you think about the best worlds in the history of Minecraft, how many are technical? 1? SB737's world was pretty great for what it was, or is, or whatever. And he has said the builds aren't up to what he wanted them to be. So why are we getting all the resources from farms if not to build with them? Sure, the factory must grow, but still, I want a world that I'm excited to open and live in as well. So along with a few changes to the channel, that's what you can expect moving forward. Yeah, I know. Last episode was custom trees, and I just added another 7 to 10 trees. Or 6 to 7 trees, whatever. Listen, it needed it. But okay, maybe I should have used a leaf farm. You ever do something dumb like think the game is paused when it's not? If you do that in hardcore, you could die very easily. Okay, editing red here. Nothing's going to sneak up behind me and, cause massive problems, right? I have no idea what happened here. I must have jumped into the bed, thought the game was paused, and it just wasn't. But luckily nothing happened and I was fine. My organization for these big build projects is at least getting a little better. 10 episodes ago I was a mess, but now I'm an organized mess. Also, having 3 happy guests in the city hub doesn't make me all that happy, so if you end up seeing 2 fewer in the future, you'll know why. I know, but hear me out. Trees are fun to build. I really like building custom trees. Maybe I need to do a bunch in creative and get it out of my system. Every time I build one though, the city feels more custom and more cozy. I always love that moment that I realize I'm starting to make progress because my empty shulkers outnumber my full shulkers, and it starts to feel more difficult to find the items to build with. After a quick repair with my villagers and buying some XP bottles and quartz, plus a food and rocket refresh, and then it was time to take my happy guest, King Bob, for a quick ride. At least as quick as happy gas get. I haven't said much about the happy gas yet, but I'm a big fan. For building close up in high spots, they're ideal and super fun. The slow speed works for those builds, and I enjoy the way it feels to have almost creative building capabilities in survival. But for everything else, they're really slow, so let's speed this up. From King Bob, I can take my time looking at the new builds. The cake shop looks sweet. The sword monument, I really love how that came out. You can see the new bridges, the archway, and the custom trees too. But let's get into the best spot. And now we have a really stable, clear shot of the city, and I love this. This angle shows clearly where the castle will go, all the new trees and builds, and what's left to do, including covering up that ugly storage box on the left-hand side. When I started this world, I only cared that spawn was in a cherry grove, and I knew there was a double village here. 2 years later, I can't imagine my world being anywhere else or anything else. As I fly back through now, you can tell the empty spaces are getting smaller and fewer. There's not a lot of plain grassy bits left anywhere, and yes, King Bob will eventually make his way back to us. So with the castle remaining, I thought I was mostly done with this episode. I was going to build some small bits into the city and call it a day. This is where I'd normally remind you to like the video, subscribe, all that stuff. And then I updated the map and took a look at the city, and decided we needed to keep going. See, past me is a jerk sometimes. I leave so many things unfinished for future me to do. Interiors especially, but sometimes even the obvious stuff. This staircase needs to be done. The only reason not to do it is just laziness. And it's okay, if you don't feel like finishing a build right away, you can come back and do it later. Future you wants it done too, right? Normally when I see the city coming along, I see how much more work is in front of me. And so who cares if I leave another 60 seconds on this build or 30 seconds for that one? I have hundreds of hours of work left, so what's a 5-minute job gonna do? It's not like I'm gonna finish the city if I finish it now, right? But recently I've seen only the finish line. It's like the end of a long race when you're tired. You've been tired for a long time, but suddenly the finish line is in sight. You hear the crowd roar starting to build, and if only you push a little bit more, you can get there. I've never enjoyed building for the sake of building, but I think recently that changed somehow. I don't mind building the staircase or texturing the path up to it. I don't have a plan here, I'm just building. Add some stone pavers, some coarse dirt, maybe a bit of gravel, and suddenly it fits with the rest of the city. And a lot of the city's infrastructure still floats like this. I've already returned most of our build materials to storage, but thankfully it's not far away. And with a new inventory of stone bricks, I can make this building's lower walls. Oh, sorry, Elytra was getting low again. Take a guess in the comments how many times I've traded with villagers in this world so far. Here's a hint, it's a very large number. I'll try and remember to tell you next episode. I just had a revelation like right now in the editing process. I could have stopped hours ago and saved all the work for the city's final episode, but I'm starting to take pride in what I'm doing. I'm starting to want you to be as excited as I am that we're nearing the end. And I can't feel as much pride in it if I see all these half-completed ideas. Sure, there's final detailing still to come, but I just wasn't comfortable with it yet. I don't like that all this is in the way of the natural walking path, or that this ledge feels unfinished, this shop needs light, and so does this monument. In fact, now looking at it, I don't like this ledge at all. It's too square, and surely we can add just a little bit of detail to it very quickly. And this road edge is so harsh when just a few stairs fixes it right up. So for a couple hours, I did exactly this. Walk around the city, tweaking, fixing, improving, adding. It was relaxing and actually quite a bit of fun. I found myself really enjoying smoothing out the city's rough edges and the awkward feeling movement, tearing blocks out, replacing them with a better fit. I finally found flow state as a builder, and it was actually kind of amazing. Then I flew through the city once again, hours after I thought I was ready to be done. The details may not be noticeable, but for now I no longer see as many ugly, unfinished bits, and then I saw the biggest unfinished bit in the whole city. As much as I was ready to be done, I played for almost another 9 hours after the episode felt completed. The biggest remaining project other than the castle is this riverbed. The dirt, sand, clay, and gravel all looks messy. It distracts from the city and brings the vanilla terrain into an area that I've customized so much. And then after doing most of the river, I decided to go back to detailing. I added some bamboo patches around the city, I hand placed some seagrass on the new riverbed. Okay, lots of seagrass. As well as these new water lilies and the frog statue from earlier. And then I had to run the coral fans farm for more seagrass. The farm does both depending on what tool you use to harvest. This farm is by Ian Collier and is from a much earlier episode. Everything comes back around eventually. Look how much cleaner that riverbed looks though. This is with full gamma on, so it's a bit brighter than it will be really, but I think the green seagrass against the muddy riverbed is super nice. I'll still do some final texturing here, but this is a really great start. Whenever I have a massive level change, I feel it's important I have to show you why, because some people get very uppity about this. So after using the Coral Fans farm, I wanted to make a big set of enchanted shears, so yes, I'm on level 343 now. And then after buying unbreaking books and combining everything, you're going to see a big drop. I'm going to finish this process somewhere around level 310. That is not going to be the biggest level drop between now and day 5000. Okay, I wasn't sure if I was going to put mending on all of these, but I think I am. I'd like to have them around for other projects, and now I'm on level 277. Woe is me. Finally, and yes I mean finally this time, I wanted to do one more thing. The more I looked at the city, the more I needed to define the road shapes and put in some finer details along their edges. So I got a whole new set of build materials and went back to work. The road edge gave a lot of definition to a fairly unfinished part of the city, and over some of the bridges, and that led me below to finish the bridge supports as well as smoothing the underside of the height changes. I told you I was just really in the mood to build. And before I go, I'm going to do just one more thing, no matter how long this takes. This build is missing a deep slate emerald, and I haven't found one in the entire world yet. I know what biomes have emeralds, and I know the main problem is finding ancient cities in deep dark in the mountain biomes below, so brute forcing this seems like the easiest way. Oh, I'm in a savanna now. And this is all mountain, but it's not low enough. I don't see any deep slate. Okay, what about down this way? I see gold. But I'm back in the savanna. Too much deep dark this way. Okay, let's try another mountain. Or maybe this one. Nope. More deep dark and a lush cave here. I'm just gonna go strip mining. This here is deep dark. But this is jagged peaks. So we're back in the mountains, and after marking out the edge of the biome and digging several layers deep, I had to go to another mountain and try it again. This was not easy. We wouldn't be mining in normal speed if this wasn't going to work out, right? Okay, there it is. Eventually, a deep slate emerald was mine. Okay, I feel relieved. Let's go home. It's day 4420 and I can finally add my deep slate emerald right here. Let's take a closer look at some of the finer details of today's work. And now I have just one more spot left to fill. We've done a lot today, but it's time to finally get out of here. I'll see you for the castle build next time. Goodbye.